Hey friends, welcome back for another video. This is Cassie. Today I'm doing something special. I'm doing a collaboration with Pink and Main and Pearblossom Press, and we're going to be making a light up card. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we're using. I have the Easy Light by Pearblossom Press, and when it says Easy Light, it is absolutely easy. We're also going to be using the Need to Venti stamp and die, and I love that those dies are pink, and of course it's coffee. And then we have the Blessings Slimline die by Pink and Main, which is so cool. I love that everybody's coming out with these slim lines now. And then we also have the Leafy stencil. So you guessed it, we're making a slimline. I'm going to go ahead and take that border die and run that through my die cutting machine over some blue cardstock that I had in my stash. It's like kind of like a navy, maybe not quite navy. And then we're just going to, like I said, run this through our die cutting machine. I'll use that inside piece later on for other things. And then I'm going to save all the little pieces. I thought I might use them. It turns out I don't. I will use the little inside pieces for hello and the R and the D, but we're saving everything as of now. And now let's go ahead and do our stamping. So I've got all the cups lined up inside of my Misty. I'm going to stamp this onto some Nina Cream cardstock, and I'm going to use some Memento Espresso Truffle. So this is not the typical color that I use, but Memento inks are good for Copic coloring or any alcohol marker coloring because they don't bleed with the alcohol colors. So I'm going to stamp that a couple of times. It's just a very deep brown, and I think it's so pretty. And I end up stamping this twice. I don't use all the images, but I do stamp it twice. We'll start with our pumpkin mug, which is just getting me in the mood for fall. Even though I'm sitting here in shorts as I do this voiceover, and it's, I think, supposed to be 90 degrees today. Yeah, we're gonna get ready for fall. I had YR24 as my base color, and then I came in with some YR27 as my darker color. Notice that I'm not going all the way to the edges with this. That gives the illusion that the cup is rounded. And that's just sort of how I color anyway. And I do a lot of flicking a lot of the time. So I'll blend that out with that YR24 again. And fun fact about pumpkin, I'm actually allergic to melons. So now it's funny, I can eat pumpkin if it's been cooked, but if it is raw and I touch it, I will get hives. So I discovered this when I was trying to carve out pumpkins when my kids were little, and I would just break out into hives so bad. So yeah, I'm actually allergic to all melons. I'm not sure why that is, but can't have watermelon or honeydew or any of those. Our next mug is going to end up using all of the colors that I chose as far as the color combo. The color combo that I picked out in my head was like a pumpkin color, so that orangey, yellowy orange color. Then we have like a minty, sagey green, and then more like a, I guess, a rusty red color. And then that navy blue, not quite navy blue color. And I just think that all four of those colors together just are absolutely beautiful. Okay, so it has been mentioned before that I love tea. Now I will drink coffee. I am not opposed to coffee, but I am definitely a tea snob. I will, like I said, occasionally partake in the coffee if I'm extremely tired, even though I think it's proven that tea, like caffeinated tea, black tea, will actually wake you up better without any of the jitters. So this is part of the reason why I have switched to mostly tea. But here's something controversial: pumpkin spice. Now you either love it or you hate it, and I really do love it. I think I look forward to it every year, and as soon as it's available, like when my husband and I go on our little coffee dates or whatnot, I will absolutely get some pumpkin spice. I love it. It's, like I said, you know, I look forward to it every year. I'm okay when it's gone because I can look forward to it again for the next fall. But yeah, I love it. And I just think it's funny that there are, you know, people either love it or hate it. So leave that in the comment section down below. Do you love it or do you hate it? All right, we'll move on to our final mug. I thought this one was decorated so cute with all the little just squiggles and lines and just different portions that you could color it, different ways that you could color it. And you could really have some fun with these mugs, which I thought, you know, was fun. You wouldn't even have to color the pumpkin like the orange. You could do it more one of those teal colors. You could do it like a cream color. You could color it even darker. I mean, there's just so many options for how you could color these mugs. So as I finish up the coloring of this final mug, as I mentioned before, this is a collaboration between Pink and Main and Pearblossom Press. We are going to make this card a light up card, and it's so much easier than you might think. If you've seen me do them before, you know that they are super, super easy. And if it's interactive, it's got to be fairly easy for me, otherwise it's probably not going to happen. And I do love these light up cards because there's just not a lot of thought in them other than where you're going to put the lights. And even that can be super easy because I feel like you could light up just about anything. At one point I thought about lighting up behind these mugs, like making it like they're, oh, you know, it's coffee. I thought that would have been fun, but I end up taking it a different route. So in the description box down below, I'm going to have a link to my blog so that you can head on over there and then you can hop along and take a look at what everybody made, you know, using the light up and using the Pink and Main products. And you'll be so inspired, I have no doubt. All right, I'm going to move on to using the matching dies. Again, love that they're pink. It's just one of my things that I love about it. And once they're all cut out, I'm going to start doing some stenciling. So I am going to take a 6x6 stencil, yes, and do it on a slim line. It is possible. I am lining this lining it up on my Wendy Vecchi station. It's just to hold the stencil in place. That's pretty much all it's going to do. I am going to mask off that one edge of the stencil because I don't want any ink going on that side of it. And then I'll pull out my little Pink and Main mini Ergo blending brush, and I'm just going to blend this minty green color all the way across the panel. This is the Minty Fresh color by Simon Hurley Ink, or Simon Hurley Create. And then just spread that color all the way across. It's fairly subtle and light, which I like. And then here's where I'm going to move the stencil. And I'm going to overlap them just a little bit, not a lot, just a little, so that way it will give you the illusion that it's a continuing stencil. Once again, I'll move that purple tape over to that side, and then we'll do the rest of our blending. Now, if you look close enough, obviously you're going to be able to tell that these are overlapped and that it wasn't like a slimline stencil, but it is possible to use a standard size stencil on a slimline card. I do it all the time, really. So I'll remove my stencil, clean up my mess, and yes, you can tell, but it's not that bad. We're going to end up kind of masking it. Now I've decided where I want my sentiment to go, so I am going to cut the rectangle out. I'm not going to use any of those pieces that I cut out, but it will allow the blue one that I cut out earlier to fit in there perfectly. I'm going to cut down some vellum because this is how our light is going to show through, and I'll just glue that to the back of my panel, just making it, you know, bigger than the actual cut. And then here's where we're going to start paper piecing our blue Hello Friend. I think of it kind of like a marquee sign. I'm just going to glue that right back into the rectangle over the top of that vellum. You could use like a Xyron sticker maker and that would work really well too. And so now that that's put in there, I'm going to grab the little pieces for the insides of the letters like the O, the R, and the D, and we'll just glue those into place just using a tiny bit of glue and our jewel picker. So I'll stick those down, and then we're going to put our border all the way around as well. We'll use that same liquid glue. And I'll give you a little hack here. You can absolutely put this down, no problem, you know, just stick it down and kind of eyeball it to make sure that it's straight, but it is a very long border die, slimline obviously, and so it might have a tendency to not be totally straight. So I'm going to take the guts from the inside of it and I'll put that kind of back in there and then just push the pieces into place, and then it'll be a lot straighter. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and glue down my mugs once I've decided where I want those to go. Like I said, the hardest thing about easy lights is really just deciding where you're going to have your push button. I sat and thought about that for a few seconds, where exactly I wanted it. And then, you know, once I decided where I wanted it, as you can tell, I do have some of the other leaves that came from this stamp set. Those are all sitting out because I do plan to stamp those. But before we do that, or no, I guess we're going to do that now. I'm going to stamp them out using all sorts of different colors, and I'll also go ahead and die cut those out and make those ready to go. And I'm going to use the little acorn as my push button. I have this set from Happy Doodle. This is the Interactively Yours. It has all kinds of little interactive sentiments. I just had this in my stash, so I'm going to use that. And Amanda carries that in the Pearblossom Press store, so I'll have that linked down below. But let's get our light ready to go before we attach our acorn. It's this easy. Take the battery and you just stick it in there. Make sure the positive and the positive and the negative are together, and then that's it. That's really all you do to get it ready to go. And now you got to decide where the push button's actually going to go, and I'm going to use some 1/2 inch score tape behind that to make sure that that doesn't go anywhere. You could use liquid adhesive, you just want to make sure that it dries before you move around too much. And now once I know where the push button is, I'll take a little liquid glue on my acorn and put that there, and it says push here, so the recipient knows to push and be just amazed that I'm so creative. No, I'm kidding. Be amazed at how the little card lights up, and they'll have no idea that it didn't really take a whole lot of effort. I'm going to go ahead and put my lights behind the marquee, and I'm going to just tape them in place with a little bit of purple tape. Washi tape would be fine too. It really doesn't matter. Just make sure your lights are facing forward. And then check it out. It works. So the rest of the wires I'm just going to kind of wind up. It's going to be a hot mess back there, but I don't care and it doesn't matter, and I'll just tape that down as well. As long as nothing's interfering with the actual light or the push button, you're good to go. I'm going to double up some Scotch foam tape. Amanda has some score tape, or not score tape, but she has some foam tape that works perfectly in her store for these, and I don't think you have to double it up. But we're going to do the inside now, and as you can tell up there on my background, I just covered the entire back with foam tape, just avoiding where the push button is and avoiding obviously where the lights are, but you can put tape right over the top of the wires and it's not a big deal. I'm going to glue together some Autumn Blessings from that die set, that Blessings Slimline die, and then I'll just glue those to the inside of the card because you know me, I've got to do something to the inside. And then we'll peel off all the release paper from our front panel, and then we'll just attach this right to the front of our card base. Just making sure everything lines up nicely. And that card measures closed. It measures 3.5 inches by 8.5 inches. Because if I send this through the mail, I don't want that button to be on all the time. You can take a piece of cardstock, just cut down. It's about 1 inch or so, maybe a little less, and then kind of make sure that it fits in there fine. And then you can attach that. Just stick it in between the mechanism and the battery, and that'll keep the battery from being on all the time. And then I just stamped a little pull me, so that way the recipient knows to pull that out and then they can push here. And then I'll attach down the rest of my little bits around the cups. And then we'll have about 3 left over that I will attach on the inside of the card. And once all of those are attached, that's going to finish off this card. And it was so super easy. I think the longest part was actually coloring. The easy light was just that. It was easy. So take a look at that. There's the inside. Here's the outside. We can pull out our little pull me tab and push here, and we have a beautiful, easy light up card. So as I said, this is a blog hop, so I'll have my blog linked down below so that you can go ahead and head there so that you can check out what everybody else has made and hop along. If you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already done so. I typically have 3 to 4 videos a week, and I would love it if you kept coming around. And as always, thank you so much for stopping by.